Welcome back on the talking about what is happening in Gaza and this humanitarian crisis taking place and the Israeli attacks against the Palestinian civilians, women and children who are dying every day. I'm talking about the humanitarian rights and the Egyptian role in allowing more humanitarian aids inside Gaza through Rafah border and all the efforts exerted. Over the phone we have Mr. Rahman, a journalist. Hello.
Hello to
Good
you.
morning,
Good morning
sir.
to you and the dear viewers.
So first of all, I'd like to talk more about the Egyptian efforts regarding the humanitarian aid and allowing more aid going into the Palestinians through the Rafah border, especially that there were many claims from the very beginning that Egypt closed the Rafah borders, yet Egypt did not close it starting from the crisis.
Well, of course, starting from day one of the consequences of the October 7th operation against the Zionist existence, the Egyptian role was significant, historical, and recognizable by all powers, all the countries, all the nations, all the humanitarian organizations. We have supported the Palestinians. We have been opening the gates over the borders from our side. Only the Zionist existence, only the Israeli side that tried to push the Palestinians, tried to displace them among other brutal crimes and genocide crimes against the Arabs in Palestine and in Gaza Strip. Of course, we have accomplished a lot to help the Palestinians, and we are still doing it as we are speaking right now. Of course, we have, this is our role, our historical role as a guardian and a shield and an armor for the Arabic nation, not only Palestine. This is the historical and the strategic role of Egypt. This is our own national security we are protecting against the greeds of the international Zionism, and of course against the aggression of the Israelis against the Arabs in Palestine. Yesterday and the day before and tomorrow will be always great efforts accomplished from Egypt, as well as we are doing our best through communications, through diplomacy, through the power of diplomacy, our soft power, our secret powers. We have our own sources to achieve our goals, to protect the Palestinian cause. Not only the Palestinians, but we are also supporting and protecting the Palestinian cause, which means there is no way that we can allow any displacements of the Palestinians to any other place, whether Jordan, whether Sinai, whether any place. Second, we need to make it clear, and we made it clear over and over again, our resolution, our situation based upon the resolution of two-state solution. That means an independent state for Palestine with all associations of a legitimate state. We're talking about great steps already have been accomplished throughout our negotiations with the Israeli side, with the U.S. side, with other powers side, with our friends in Gulf and other powers, of course, along with the UN cooperation. We have made it clear that the two-state solution is the only solution allowed. Along with there is a red line that Mr. President Abdel Sisi has drawn along to the Eastern Front against any just thinking about harming or crossing that line. Of course, we have too many battles to fight at the same time. And of course, we are standing tall, we are standing strong towards any greeds of any international powers that try to change the reality all around us. We are preserving peace. We are the peace preserver truly in this region. Well, of course, we have our own powers. We have the military power that can crush any attempt of just thinking about threatening our own borders, any of our borders. And we can achieve our goals. Of course, it takes time. Of course, it takes time because there is a conflict of will between us, between the powers of light against the powers of evil. And it takes light to bend and to crush the powers of evil. And we will crush it.
Maybe the most important part when we talk about this also is to take a look at the awareness of people in general. I think just by looking at people and looking even at schools, I'm not talking about teenagers or universities, but really we were concentrating on the children. We are talking about kids who are very keen to go and participate in gathering items and donations for the Palestinian children. And I think this is a very important gesture. I don't think we saw this before.
Well, of course, I totally agree with you. Yesterday and the day before, the month before, the 4th month before, have witnessed a revolution of mind all over the world, a moment of awakeness, of true awareness. Who is the criminal side here, and who is the victim? Who is that force, that evil force, that colonization force that have been pushing and manipulating millions of Arabs on the occupied lands over 100 years, a total century of aggression and under siege life, and denying the least rights of life, of having an independent state. This is the legitimate right of each and every citizen all over the world. Now the whole nations around the world have been expressing that situation in action. We have witnessed so many actions accomplished, and we have witnessed the Irish football team that that wouldn't shake hands and turn their backs against the Israeli teams. Excuse me. And we have witnessed too many feelings against the unit existence all over the world. In USA, in Australia, in the heart of Europe, despite the unjust situation of the Western regime towards the crisis, the nations have waken up. This is the most important thing that this crisis has given us.
I think we can describe it just as from this crisis, we have some positive points that we have to take benefit of and to encourage. Just as you mentioned, now all over the world, and again for the first time even in the United States, we have seen people gathering and demonstrations asking for the rights of Palestinians, despite of the fact that there were many of the international channels were trying to be more biased to Israel, insisting that they are defending themselves. Yet still all of the people now are aware of the real crisis taking place against these civilians.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. That pressure, the Western regimes that are supporting the Zionism and the Zionist crimes against the Palestinians have all become under huge pressure. And I'm talking about true pressure will change the course of policy in Europe, in whole of Europe, even in the U.S. I believe a great part of the strong situations that was taken by the nation in the U.S. will change and have the way of changing the courses of policy in U.S. And of course, we're talking about the same in Europe, in France, in Germany. There is a huge gap are being getting wider each and every day between the nations and the regimes in Europe and Australia and the U.S. because they have realized that their regimes have been supporting the crimes and supporting the colonization and the last colonization force on earth. We are witnessing right now, as we are speaking, the end, the sunset of the last colonization power on earth. And Palestine will seek its freedom until it's accomplished. I am sure that the most benefitable role here and the benefit power here is Egypt and the Arabic rights that will prevail in the end. And we will make our stand strong until we achieve all our goals and reject and end the occupation in Palestine. Finally, there is no colonization have lasted all over the history, and they must realize this fact. We have all the powers we need, politically, diplomatically, even through the intelligence level, that we have supreme powers in this field. And of course, we have our own army, the best army on earth that can preserve peace and fight for peace, not fight for aggression. Again, on the other hand, we have still marches to go, and we have situations to take, and we are supporting the Palestinians despite any other power could think. Of course, with cooperation with all needed organizations on the ground.
Well, despite the fact that all these efforts that are taking place, yet still Israel, which is very weird and no one can ever understand, they still insist to continue with their attacks against Palestinians.
Yes.
So the point now that just as US President Joe Biden came out and declared that starting from Monday there's going to be a ceasefire, of course, and we know there are talks now, of course, including Qatar and including the Egyptian side, and that this ceasefire will last throughout the holy month of Ramadan. Do you think they are going to follow this?
I am sure of three things here. The first thing, that Israel hasn't accomplished any success. That's why they are running forward to war, to keep the war going on until desperately they can achieve any success or any victory. Well, they haven't accomplished any victory, and they will not accomplish any victory as long as the war goes on. I'm sure they are trying to extend the aggression for as long as it takes, even on the or even on how many losses they have suffered. The Zionist leadership realize that their people are against the continuing of the aggression, because they are paying a higher price. There are more than 100,000 Israelis have immigrated from the Zionists back home to where they belong in Europe already since the beginning of the operation, October 7th. On the other hand, I am sure that we need to have a ceasefire, because the war cannot just go on like this. That's why we are pressing so hard and using all our tools of pressure to stop the war, reaching a ceasefire, reaching even a truce, not only in Ramadan, before and after for a while. But I am sure that the conflict will go on, not just because we want it, not just because it has to go on. It's just because that Israel will not allow it to stop until they achieve a success, and they won't. They won't achieve a success. That's why they want the war to go on and on and on. One thing, number three, I am sure that the U.S. power is not against. It's not against the aggression. It's a part of the aggression. It's a main supporter of the aggression, aggression side. They have pouring supplies. Yesterday, we were pouring supplies to the Palestinians to live, to survive. On the other hand, other powers like the U.S. and their allies, maybe all around us, that are supporting the Israeli side with weapons, with money, with ways to continue their aggression against the Israeli side. This is a historical battle between the good and the bad, between the heart of light, which is Egypt, and the hands of evil. And we will cut the hands of evil, finally. I am sure of that.
Well, if we are going to describe this aggression, definitely it didn't start only from October the 7th. It started long time ago, and the Palestinians are suffering and women or children are dying every day. But the point is, when we talk about this, and so far up till now still, we did not see any sanctions or let's say any kind of penalties or measures taken against Israel. Only let's say that we have seen the whole world now, they are against what is happening, away from the leadership. So how do you see this? And I mean, after even the international court and all what have been just mentioned or decisions taken, still they violate all international law and still they proceed in killing people every day.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. This is a very important question. The colonization hasn't started. That 4 months we have witnessed. The colonization of Palestine has really begun since 100 years. Exactly in the 40s of the last century. We're talking almost a century. And of course, the colonization didn't just come without, not just in vain. They have their agenda. They have their colonization schemes. They have the second stage of Sykes-Picot maps that they are trying to that they have already tried to apply through the past 10 years. When they wanted to divide the Arabic East countries in Yemen, in all around the countries, right now in Sudan, right now in Somalia. It's a whole lot of scheme, not just in Palestine. They have cultivated Israel in our backs, in our side like a thorn, to achieve their own agenda, which is dividing and conquering and putting their claws over our own territories and lands and fortunes. And they have already accomplished a lot, but we are standing. See, we as a nation, we have awakened up. We have a revolution that June 30 have awakened up the nation in Egypt and all over the world. We need to change this. We need to, for this scheme, this international vicious scheme, to fight it back, and we will fight it back. We are already fighting it back. We have started this since day one, after our own revolution. We have started our diplomatic war and our cultural and our mental war to change the awareness of the whole people. As you said, there is a huge gap between the nations and the regime in Europe and in the U.S. and those regimes that are supporting the Zionist existence since day one. They have their agenda. They want to finish it. They want to accomplish this agenda against the Arabic rights. On the expense of Arabic rights. This will not continue anymore, because the operation of October 7th, with all their vague questions, but it has one important goal that has been achieved, which is awaken the soul of resistance on the Arabic occupied land. All of the Palestinians, letting alone all of the Arabs, they want to feel they are resisting that colonization, not dealing with it, not nationalize with it. It's time for our nations, Arabic nations, to unite. As Mr. President has said since day one, when he delivered the leadership of this country, he asked and demanded for the whole Arabic nation to gather on one side, one front, and one Arabic army. This is the only way we can preserve. We don't need to go on a war. We don't. We are not supporters of war, but we are. We need. If we had to fight, we will fight, and we have the means and the tools to fight and conquer any power that stand against us. Only by unity as one nation, one united force and one front.
Right, Mr. Amr Abdel, journalist, thank you very much for joining us. Moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back.